back like we never left. It's been since 2022, but the CEBL is now back on CBC in 2026 and beyond. And the 8th season of the CEBL is upon us. Gets underway in Edmonton, the city of champions. And Stingers fans piling in, as you see, are excited for this season. And so are we, as you can come on and join us in the CBC studios for the CEBL on CBC. I'm Donovan Bennett. I will be your past first point guard for the next couple hours. I'm joined by a backcourt mate who, in Tamika Nurse, I would argue is one of the best players to come out of Hamilton.
Oh, thank you so much.
Which is saying something, because the best player in the world is currently from Hamilton.
That's true.
Also, our post player, before he was a Michigan man as a captain for the Wolverines, was a Scarborough man with our national team, Javon Shepard.
The only thing you had wrong was post player. I'm a bucket getter. I'm a bucket getter.
Me.
Like let's not post player.
Please do not start this
Excuse
today.
me. The runs nowadays. You're a back to the basket post player. We're gonna see a lot of both. We saw a lot of both last night. The reason why I'm grinning from ear to ear is because what a time to be alive in Canadian basketball. NBA players getting buckets in the playoffs. Grassroots is up. And we have a franchise in the WNBA selling out. You must have been in all the feels as a broadcaster, as a fan of the game, and as a big sister last night.
It was absolutely amazing last night to see my sister play a game on home. So while I was on the broadcast, there was a moment there where you forget you're working and you're just like, this is incredible. So to be able to witness history as a female basketball player who never really thought this would happen in this country, Javon, I'm just like super excited to have been in that moment.
Yeah, I think Canada has become the home of basketball in the spring and summer, right? When you think about it, the Toronto Temple, I talked about a game last night, and obviously the CBL, which we're covering here, the national team, you know, the Raptors going, 7 games in a first round playoff. So this has definitely become a national team as well, but this has definitely become the home of basketball for the spring and summer Canada.
So whether you are true to this since 2019 when the league started playing, or new to this, we got you covered. The CBL is our league. Really, it's Canadian. 2 players on the floor at all times will be Canadian, 6 on the roster, but we go above the ratio most of the time with 70% of the league being Canadian, and it's truly across the country. 10 different teams from 6 provinces. Tamika, why is it important to have a domestic league in Canada?
Well, obviously for growth and expansion, you see how the game is growing in our country, and part of that comes from having opportunities like they do in the CEBL. You played overseas. Every other country in the world has a domestic league that filters from their grassroots program up into the college university ranks. And I think what it does is it gives an opportunity for some of these people who may not be their first step into the NBA to still have somewhere to play.
Yeah, I think, first of all, you talk about opportunity and you look at some of the names that have been in this league. AJ Lawson, right, played an integral part for the Toronto Raptors in their playoff series. You talk about Smith, Coach Smith, who was with the Brampton Honey Badgers a couple years ago, won a championship. He's one of the lead assistants with the Atlanta Hawks. And so many, Brittany Donaldson, right, Portland Fire, she's an assistant GM with them. They were all here in the CEBL. So definitely a great starting ground, but also, this is, the bright lights are here, right? Other leagues and, they're looking here, they're plucking talent, really good talent. So it's no longer just a development league, but it's Canada's pro league.
It is. So not NBA rules, it will be FIBA rules, except for one wrinkle, the target score, which I personally love. It means essentially in the 4th quarter, 4 minutes or less, we lose the clock, put +9 on whatever the top score is, and every game ends with the conflict resolution of a game-winning basket. My kids love this. The only person I know who loves it more is you, Javon. Why?
It's thrilling, right? You get a game-winning shot every game, right? You talk about the kids love it. Coaches, depending on which side you're on, whether you win or lose, will determine that. But I think from a tactical standpoint, it's so interesting because in regulation, you typically slow down and control the game and really get surgical. But in target time, you're typically speeding up. Taking care of the basketball is important, but also just field goal attempts is extremely important. There's a higher emphasis there. So that's what makes it so good. But fans love it, and all the players dream about making that big shot.
The fans in Edmonton are hoping to love it tonight if it goes their way. I would argue there's some of the most rabid fans in the league. Don't at me, our friends in Saskatchewan. But for more on that support, we go to Edmonton with Mark Majot.
Well, 8 years in, the buzz surrounding the Edmonton Stingers has yet to go away. You feel it all over the town. You see Stingers shirts and hats in public. You hear kids talking about basketball, and you see families coming back night after night, season after season, just to be a part of the experience. And when you walk into the building, you feel this atmosphere. It is loud, the fans know who the players are, and the atmosphere feels deeply rooted in the community. For a league that continues to grow and evolve, Edmonton is showing they're one of the great basketball markets in the CEBL, and the fans here in Edmonton continue to set the tone for what's going to be another terrific CEBL season.
Great job, great stuff, Mark. And those fans, when they walk into the building, as he mentioned, they're going to be grabbing a program because they're going to try to figure out where's our scoring going to come from, because they're missing today 3 of their top scorers from a year ago. For Jordan Baker, Stingers coach, where do you go? What do you do?
Well, Jordan Baker knows exactly what to do. Jordan Baker is all of Stingers basketball. When you talk about someone who has experience and has the ability to coach in this league, regardless of what team he's handling, Jordan Baker was a player, then a coach. He's someone who really values toughness, pace, and ball movement. So when you look at someone like that who has had success at the league as a player, he can translate that down to his players coming forward. And then he's going to have some prominent scorers that you've seen, Javon.
Yeah, I think, one of those scorers is Aaron Rooms, right? And we're talking about a guy that's been a 2-time OEA Player of the Year. And this year, U-Sport Player of the Year, but he's 6'6", 220 at 24 years old. And I think he's going to have a breakout year. He's been in this league a couple years now, but this is going to be his opportunity where, Coach Baker, I think he's just going to let him out there and let him loose, right? Spoke to Coach Baker yesterday, and we touched on Rooms, and as soon as you said his name, he was smiling from ear to ear, right? Just knowing he's an absolute bucket getter. But his ability now and comfortability in this league, I'm expecting a breakout year where he could be one of the Canadians where, when it's all said and done, like the bright lights are on, he's ready for the moment, but he's going to turn some heads.
From Jordan Baker's extensive experience, we turn the page to Winnipeg and head coach Mike Rambo. First experience, first time as a head coach and GM. You've sat in the seat that he's in right now. What is he feeling and what does he need to do?
Well, nerves for one. Game 1 for him, and the first time he moves up, a chair. He's been an assistant coach with this team for the last 3 years, but it's different, right? He goes from a U Sport head coach now to coaching pros, and also, a general manager. And I remember my phone was attached to my hip 24/7. Agents, players, everybody calling you, coaches, and their problems are urgent. So the important thing for him is to really slow the moment and not let that distract him from his decisions, not let that distract him from his communication with his players, and really be in the moment to coach the team as opposed to all the other noise outside.
To set the record, his phone is still attached to his hip. We were watching your screen time.
That's a two-way. That's a two-way.
Oh, okay, my bad.
I'm old.
Well, speaking of phones and footage, you got to check out this footage, because what does a new coach need? He needs a bucket getter, and that is what Teddy Buckets is. Look at what this man does. Teddy Allen just walks in the gym, got the backpack on, got the Crocs on, a couple rhythm dribbles, and then he's just, you know what? Let me just see if this is wet. Of course it is. Cash. When you as a new coach have a literal walking bucket, what does that do for you, Tamika?
Well, Teddy Allen is a dynamic scorer, one of the best in the league. You're looking at the 2023 MVP. At 6'6", he is a big guard that plays with a lot of flair and a lot of emotion. He can create for himself at all 3 levels, hit the deep ball, attack the rim, finish with confidence inside. And when you have that in your back pocket and you can always go to a dynamic scorer, you're going to be in the game.
He had on a backpack and no shoes, and he's getting buckets. He's a problem.
He certainly is a problem. You know what the great thing about Game 1 is? At this point, the talk is over, and we get to play the games. They're going to do their talking on the floor. We can't wait. Stay with us. Arash Badani and Javon Shepard have the call after the break.
The Expo Centre in the heart of Edmonton, Alberta, a packed house expected for this 2026 CEBL opener, and it's the Stingers opening up with a visit from the Winnipeg Sea Bears to start Season 8 of Canada's Professional Basketball League. Good afternoon, everyone. Arash Madani alongside Javon Shepard. Mark Majot is courtside. It's great to have you with us for the CEBL on CBC. Only a week ago, these two teams began training camp, and it is a lot of figuring out what the lineups and rosters are going to be.
Yeah, a ton of figuring out, right? Remember, you have a short training camp. These guys, the first time they've been together, and now you have an opportunity to go out there and get rid of some of those nerves and play against somebody else.
The last time the Stingers won a CEBL title, that man was playing for Edmonton. Jordan Banker is now elevated to head coach, GM, and team president. And how about Mike Rembo? First head coaching job in the pros, had been an assistant with the Sea Bears, got elevated at the end of last season, back in Winnipeg. The MVP of the 2023 season, Teddy Allen. With the whistles today, Wasim Husseini, Barry Stothart, and Karan Lewis. The 9-month wait is over. It's Season 8 of the CEBL underway in Edmonton. And it's the Stingers who control possession early, missing a couple of their vets who will return over the next few weeks from overseas. And a tip-in is good. The putback money for Dane Danger, who we're going to be talking about a lot today.
Yeah, I know. He's a heck of a player. You see him there getting on the offensive glass, but Trey King doing a good job of getting into the paint initially.
The answer from Emmanuel Acott, the native Winnipegger. Fourth year in the CEBL for Acott, the 6'8" forward.
A forward, but also a Swiss Army knife, right? You can see he can put the basketball on the floor. He can be aggressive using his body on that last basket.
Allen running in transition, but it's collected by Danger. Swatted away and will remain Edmonton ball. Spalding is the official game ball of the CEBL. So both teams want to play up-tempo. Both teams only began training camp about a week ago, figuring out who and what they are. The drop-off left alone in the pocket. Doesn't fall for Trey King as Acott corrals the rebound. And we heard from both coaches this week, and they said, look, we are far from a finished product.
The first couple of minutes of this game, especially the first half, it's going to be pretty ugly, right? Expect a few turnovers here and there, and these guys probably aren't going to execute except, transition like those plays you see.
There's Trey King making his CEBL debut, a forward out of Lexington, Kentucky. And now Teddy Allen. And that's what Teddy Allen can do, just so dynamic. What a scorer Allen is, returning to Winnipeg after a couple of years away.
Well, they don't call him Teddy Buckets for no reason. Right? He's pretty comfortable putting the ball in the hole.
Allen played the season in the G League, went between Rio Grande and Delaware this season as he is slowed down with the foul on
How
Trey
about that?
King.
Teddy playing some defense as well on that weak side, coming up with a steal. Here you see the push transition. Great touch, Vandemel just through traffic, a little Euro step to David Walker, but nice physical cross-step finish, right-hand lay.
They wanted to simplify things for Trey King as he gets into the CEBL fold. There's Allen again. And Teddy Allen picking up where he left off when he left the league.
Yeah, he knows how to do that, and that for Edmonton has got to be, the first thing on their priority on their scouting report, right? Is really slowing down Teddy and not allowing him to get comfortable because he's the leader for Winnipeg.
Allen gets the rebound. Winnipeg wants to run. They do, and just off the fingertips of David Walker.
Little Teddy Buckets action early in the game. Here you see ball screen action, kick out, and you can't leave this guy in the corner, right? You're going to close out hard, but it's a right foot, right hand finish. Tough flow.
I liked Allen's line this week. He said, in this league, I believe I can move the needle.
That's almost like saying I can believe I can fly. That's what he's saying to you. I believe I can fly.
That's Jeremiah Tillman swatting that thing away. I mean, Allen can do a little bit of everything as Acott comes off for a breather. Our first look at Simon Hildebrandt, 23-year-old from Winnipeg. Back inside. And a good finish from Trey King. Armani Chaney, first game in the CEBL, the ball handler for the Winnipeg Sea Bears, 29 years old out of Tennessee State. Looks for Allen, finds Allen. Teddy can't finish, but Tillman does.
Right, and Tillman not giving up on the play. Teddy Allen tries to get to the basket, right? Everybody walls up on him. Tillman knows, right? He's pretty familiar with Teddy Allen and just knows he's going to put the basketball up. The defense is shaded to him, right? That gives him an open opportunity to get an easy two.
Kicked away by Chaney with 7 on the shot clock.
That's what we're talking about right here. You can see Teddy Allen, right? He's going to draw 2 defenders. Tillman right here, right place, right time. But that's just sticking with it, not giving up on the play. Your scorer has it. He's going to put it up. Find a way.
Yeah, when we spoke with Jordan Baker yesterday, he said, look, on Teddy, if we try and guard him one-on-one, he's going to score 50 on us.
That's going to, and you've seen it right there, right? As soon as he touches the basketball and puts it on the floor, right, he's going to see 2 or 3 defenders.
So Mike Rainbow called Armani Chaney a poised point guard, a true point guard, and there's a moving screen on Jeremiah Tillman. And it's rare you get 29-year-old rookies in this league, but that's the story with Armani Chaney.
And being a rookie there, that was almost a rookie mistake, right? With him having the basketball, Tillman picks up the foul, but Chaney's got to do a better job of, waiting for Tillman to set that screen. When you start moving, start dancing with the basketball, those bigs are caught shuffling, trying to find and hunt the defender out, and Tillman clips him with the hip.
Winnipeg leads by 2, opening day of this 2026 CEBL season, the 8th year of pro basketball in our country. Packed house at the EXPO Centre in Edmonton. There's Tony, it's swatted away by Hildebrandt. Winnipeg controls it. Allen has to retreat. Allen gets his pocket picked by Tay Donald. Left alone, there's Aaron Rooms. That's the National Player of the Year in youth sports basketball this season, Aaron Rooms. Rooms in his 3rd year with Edmonton as the 3 is short. Edmonton wants to run, and they'll finish in transition. Kevin Cross with the block, but it was a goal.
Right, great way of changing ends of the floor where you get a defensive stop and you advance the basketball up the floor. Nice catch, good run by your big man, being the first big down the floor for, the 2. And you touched on Aaron Rooms. You mentioned Aaron Rooms. We talked to Coach Jordan Baker yesterday, and as soon as we mentioned Rooms, right, he was smiling from ear to ear, just saying he used a couple words that we can't necessarily use on live here.
Right.
This is PG now, but he's just an absolute bucket getter.
Yeah, Baker said he can really score it, has adjusted to the speed and physicality.
If you say the word he said first, I'll pay the fine.
Yeah.
Say the
That was Kevin Cross with the bucket. And what a story Rooms is. 24-year-old from Mississauga. Put on 30 pounds of muscle during his youth sports career. Knocked away by Kevin Cross. And it is the first-round draft pick, Aaron Rooms, getting it done for Edmonton.
Welcome back to Edmonton. My name is Mark Mougeot. After a brief year away, Teddy Allen is back in the CEBL. And back in 2023, Allen won the Player of the Year award when he averaged over 27 points per game. When I asked Teddy why was the time to come back to the CEBL, he said he felt comfortable playing for Winnipeg and playing with Coach Mike Rambeau. In fact, when Mike Rambeau got the job, he said one of the first people to reach out to him was Teddy Allen. He is a dynamic scorer. He is must-see TV every single night, and he's back on a Canadian stage looking to remind everyone exactly why he was once named best player in the league.
Yeah, Mark, it certainly is the case. And it's such an interesting story because you think of that 2023 MVP season as the layup falls for Samaj Teal. It was the next season, mid-June, that Allen was released by the Sea Bears. At the time, the team called it behavioral issues. They said that there was unrest with the team. I asked Allen about all of that yesterday, and Shivani said, I ran from accountability. It was hard for me to be accountable as the rejection there in transition. But Teddy said this time around, I'm 27 years old. I'm sure of myself. I'm sure of how I need to carry myself professionally.
Well, talk about accountability. See this block right here, full court, just cleaning up the glass. You know, and to your point, accountability, when you look at Teddy Allen right now, also his body has changed, right? He looks a bit more in shape. He's come back to the league. And I also like, you know, he's a bucket getter, yes, but you're seeing more effort of him on the defensive end. Already 2 steals early in this game, moving his feet. So, yeah, that's a player. And you always want to talk about, you know, you can talk about the hurdles, you can talk about the bumps in the road, but also got to talk about the development. And there's a couple keys, you know, for both these teams. Winnipeg, they've got to outcompete Edmonton. You know, Jordan Baker's teams, they play tough, they play gritty. And for Edmonton, right, the key is guarding Teddy. You know, Teddy Allen, right? Teddy Buckets. He can't be Teddy Buckets today. He's just got to be Teddy Allen. And they've got to ensure that he doesn't go one-on-one and get to where he wants his spots on the floor.
Allen has 4 points in just under 5 minutes on the floor. Foul underneath. And it's free throws coming up. Mason Krause picks up the personal. Tay Donald shooting free throws. Today's Western Conference game presented by Cal Tires. So Donald at the line out of St. Thomas, Ontario. He was a second-round pick of Edmonton back in 2024. Airballs the free throw. Edmonton leads by 2. Third CEBL season for Tay Donald. Comes off the bench. I mean, played 23 games last year, is really kind of finding his footing at this level. And back over, Krause trying to find Acott, but went backwards. So there's Mike Rambeau. We talked about at the top, first season, first game as a professional head coach. He said it's been a lot of learning, and his line was, everything is a challenge, but everything is exciting too.
Yeah. Absolutely, and I think he's going to learn quick that, you know, in this league, you got to have 3 iterations of your team, right? This is the start of the season when, you know, some guys are still finishing up their winter season. You know, they're going to expect a guy like Xavier Moon soon, and in the middle of the season, probably your most talented team, and then at the end of the season, when most teams are hanging on by, you know, shoestrings.
Rebound controlled by the Stingers. It's Rooms who collects it. Now Donald knocks down the triple. And Edmonton has its biggest lead of the day.
Edmonton's strength is their power in numbers, right? And, you know, Coach Baker said yesterday they're going to go about, you know, 10 deep. Everybody's going to get to play, and I think that's important because everybody on the bench has got to pay attention to what's going on. You got to come in, bring that same level of intensity, and focus is the first 5.
And we know Davion Warren's going to bring it, and so does Jordan Baker. Warren, the former Stinger, returning to Edmonton. Signed as a free agent this offseason with the Sea Bears. And back and forth they go. Both teams said they're going to use that entire bench. know, Baker said we'd like to play up tempo. How will the lungs hold up? That's going to be a question.
It was funny speaking with him, saying, you know, he doesn't recruit guys or sign guys that remind him of how he played, right? He likes guys that do a bit of everything, can shoot the basketball, a bit more skilled, and he's a guy I played against, and you're right. You know, the guys that I see on the floor are stark contrast to what Jordan Baker was as a player.
Slips out for Samaj Teal. Emmanuel Acott with the rebound. David Walker looked around and put it up himself. 1 point game. Here's Donald into traffic and draws the foul.
Yes, great job by Donald there. As soon as he gets over half, you could hear Winnipeg calling ice. They're trying to force him to that left hand on the sideline. Does a good job rejecting it, gets to the middle of the floor. You can see riding over the ball screen, and then a strong take, not shying away from the contact. But as soon as he heard that ice, and the defense was trying to force him to that left, no, he said, no, I'm not going to be denied, getting to a strong hand, getting to where he wanted to.
Donald, a product of Wilfrid Laurier University, played overseas in Finland this season.
One sub, Perry.
Solid free throw shooter. Donald, 78% from the line in college, knocks down both. And Edmonton extends the lead to 3 as we take another look at Emmanuel Bandumel, who is just an elite defender. Under 2 minutes to go, first quarter, opening day of the 2026 CEBL season. Emmanuel Acott for 3.
And you live with that, right? You're forcing Teddy Allen into the paint. A second defender comes, you kick out and force, you know, somebody else to take the shot, somebody else to beat you. Acott misses that one.
Samaj Teal does as well as Allen collects the rebound, his 3rd. Acott corrals the rebound, and it's blocked. Dane Danger living up to his name, and now rooms for 3. And Allen gets sideswiped on the rebound, a loose ball foul.
Well, this is Baker's teams, right? Like, we're talking about this is game 1 of the CEBL season, and you're getting guys diving on the floor. Shot here, you know, offensive rebound. But Acott, right, you've seen 3 defenders. Another big block under the basket. These guys are playing wrestling under there.
Tell you what. Did that go off Cheney? Armani's saying it wasn't off me. Boursier says it was. And Mason was correct. It's Stingers' ball, the turnover forced.
Bourcier's pressure, right? You never want to give up on plays, and right away, nothing easy. And the basketball gods reward you. Hard play, compete. Now you give yourself another possession on the offensive end.
Boursier in his 5th year in the CEBL as we take a look at Abdul Mohammed, 29-year-old from Ottawa. Mohammed's played a couple of seasons in his career with Montreal, but he's also had runs in Germany and England and Norway along the way. Acott got a piece of it, forces the turnover. Back to Cheney, and he gets rejected. Boursier doesn't have the 3 go. Cheney comes down with the rebound. Under a minute to go in the opening quarter. Edmonton's interior defense has been terrific early, and there it is again.
Right, block shots after block shots, a lot of pressure. And on the other end is where they've got to start to convert, right? Yes, it's a 3-point lead, but right now it probably should be a 10-point lead with how many opportunities they've had on the offensive end. But big-time blocks, doing a good job of protecting the paint and collapsing the paint every time Winnipeg gets into the around the basket painted area. And here you see Tony, you know, right at the rim, vertical. A great block there. Just great job being, you know, attentive and not crossing the plane and picking up a careless foul.
Tony played for the Pacers G League affiliate this season. Under a half minute to go, first quarter. Allen ran into trouble to Krause in the corner. And that's Mason Krause, who just finished his senior season at the University of Manitoba, tying this game at 18.
And that's the way Winnipeg has to attack, you know, Edmonton's ball pressure, right? Pass out, kick out, extra pass to the corner for 3.
And the first quarter wraps with this game tied at 18. It felt like Edmonton dominated most of the opening period, but it'll be 18 apiece on this opening day of the CEBL on CBC. Ten minutes gone by, Edmonton, Winnipeg, and it has been a story of interior defense. The block party is underway. It felt like a lot more than 4 in that first quarter.
Yeah, it felt like block after block after block, but, you know, Winnipeg has really coughed the basketball up, and a lot of that has been the paint presence of Edmonton, right? They really collapse in the paint to get one block here, right? They're getting out into transition. They forced 9 turnovers, but a big part of it has been how well they've defended the paint, and they just have this swarming defense, and really they're working on a string. All 5 players just know where to be. As soon as that defense collapses, you know, they're in rotation, so there's not as much outlets on the perimeter.
Second quarter underway in Edmonton, Alberta. Western Conference duel between the Stingers and the Sea Bears. This is David Walker and a charge.
Walker a little bit too hungry for that basket. Muhammad in the paint, just know your personnel, right? Walker wants to score, you get in front of him, and forgot Acott was in the corner for the kick out. Here you see Walker trying to penetrate. Muhammad shifts over, moves those feet, right? You know you got to score, you got to get that basketball up a little bit earlier. Got a teammate in the corner for 3.
And Muhammad's an interesting story, an interesting body size, 6'7", 190. He brings a length and athleticism, a versatility. When you talk to Jordan Baker, he talks about his intensity too.
Yeah, and I think he's going to be in the right position, right, where Coach Baker is just going to utilize him to his strengths, right? All those guys are going to play. You go out there and do what you're supposed to, play hard on the defensive end. You're going to get opportunities on the offensive side.
It's Davion Warren, it won't fall. One and done there for the Sea Bears. The help came, but went off of Warren. Remains Stingers ball, 17 on the shot clock.
That was Teddy again, stopping the basketball, right? Something we didn't really see from him in years past in the league, where he didn't give as much effort on that end of the floor. That would have typically been a blow by, but doing a good job of staying with it and being conservative but smart on that end.
Here's Coursier, in and out. It's interesting, Allen said, I've gained a better understanding of defense and defensive schemes over the last couple of years, especially in the G League.
Yeah, and a lot of that is just, the will to play defense, but you don't have to be rah, rah, rah in your face. Just understanding angles, understanding, the top foot, the low foot, and understanding the hips, on the swivel of the offense.
Coursier underneath. One pass too many, but it'll remain Edmonton ball. Danger just couldn't get possession of the ball.
Yeah, and that's been the struggle of Edmonton in the early part of this game, right? Just 33% from the floor, right? They've had a number of shots at the basket, more than 6 more field goal attempts than Winnipeg, right? You've got to start converting on those and not allow this Winnipeg team to stick in it, because they have a ton of guys who can get hot at any point.
Danger with the handoff. Coursier, good from the elbow.
Great patience.
Here's Davion Warren, tries to drive baseline, ran into too much traffic. Dane Danger among the ones there. And it's Danger who's going to be called for the moving screen at the top of the key.
Yeah, we've seen one in the first quarter as well, where those guards, it's Coursier in this, in this instance, you've got to give your bigs an opportunity to set those screens, because if not, they're doing a good job, right? They're doing what they're supposed to. They want to hit your defender. They want to, get you free, clip that defender, excuse me, but you've got to give them an opportunity to set it so that they're not moving on those screens.
2 minutes gone by, second quarter. The Stingers leading the Sea Bears by 2. Allen had it stripped, gets it back, and finishes with the right hand.
Yeah, that was tough, right? The shot fake, tough one, gives it up. But right away, he knew, cut to the basket, right, and give himself a chance.
Van Dumal, the travel. Turnover forced by Davion Warren.
Teddy buckets. Right, he knows what to do with that thing. Shot fake, cut, textbook basketball. Simple basket, loses it, but look at this cut right here. Catches the defense sleeping.
Allen arrived early to Winnipeg, about a week before training camp. He said, look, the G League season ended at the conclusion of March. Showed up to Winnipeg April 24th. He and Rainbow talked about what needed to be done. Anything that needed to be cleared from what had happened before was. He misfires on the 3 there. And let's be real, this season, the Sea Bears will go through number 8. Teddy Allen is going to be the catalyst as the layup falls for Tay Donald. Here's Warren, being hounded by Tony. Back to Davion. Through a double team and a finish with the left hand, Davion Warren.
Well, Davion just sticking with it, having patience, the right to left crossovers, the shot clock's winding down. Big time defense by Edmonton, but sometimes you have better offense.
In transition, Winnipeg, they retreat to Krause, who hits his second triple of the day.
Well, this is what I was talking about, right? Edmonton just not scoring, consistently, consecutively on one end. They're playing good enough defense, but if you let Winnipeg stick around, right, these guys can fill it up, and that's been the problem for Coach Baker's team right now.
The Sea Bears have been solid from the perimeter. Mason Krause gives Winnipeg the lead.
back inside the Edmonton EXPO Centre, and one player to keep a close eye on today is Dane Danger, making his Edmonton Stingers and CEBL debut. The 6'9" forward is coming off a season in the NBA G League where he averaged over 14 points a game and 6 rebounds playing for the Sioux Falls Skyforce. Had a chance to catch up with Dane before the game, and he said the experience playing in the G League helped prepare him to make an immediate impact for the Edmonton Stingers, and head coach Jordan Baker agreed. He said he can dominate inside, run the floor, protect the rim, and facilitate on offense. Dane Danger will be a name to watch all season in the CEBL.
Yeah, Mark, he certainly will. And Baker told us yesterday, look, Danger's going to be our featured guy as the 3 drops for Tay Donald. And it's interesting that Baker's point was it's a unique playmaking ability that Danger brings the Stingers.
Yeah, he spoke about his size, his athleticism, but also what really stuck out to him was his ability to pass the basketball, right? So he's a guy that you can, play through and get the other 4 guys active and engaged, especially at his size.
He collects the rebound there for you college hoop heads. That is the same Dane Danger that led Illinois to the Elite 8 a couple of years ago in the tournament.
Also spent some time with the Memphis Tigers, right? Ranked top 12 in ACC scoring, top 6 in rebounding. I guess he can play a bit.
Play a little.
Tad bit. Led the conference in field goal percentage. He can do a couple things.
Will remain Edmonton ball with 14 on the shot clock. The inbounder is Aaron Rooms. They retreat to Donald with 8 on the shot clock. Danger draws the foul. Late whistle, went left, and it was Hildebrand who bumped him.
Well, you could hear, coaches from the sideline say we got to get the basketball inside, and right away you can understand why, right? Dane Danger gets the basketball at 6'9", 255. He hits you with the right to left crossover, almost like a guard, a little bop in the step, a little ooh-wee, and gets himself to the free throw line.
Cal Tire, proud partner and tire expert of the CEBL. Shop top tire brands and have peace of mind with Cal Tire's match guarantee. Shop and book at caltire.com. Danger, only 23 years of age, has arrived in Edmonton, originally from Brooklyn Park, Minnesota.
He's a tough cover, right, at 6'9". A big man, left-handed player as well. I have basketball royalty sitting beside me, Kayla Alexander from the Canadian national team. She's a big as well, and she can probably attest to it. Just having, playing against left-handed players makes it a little bit more difficult.
Not just a player on the national team, but an author. My niece has a book written by Kayla Alexander. Midway point, second quarter, Edmonton, Winnipeg. Season 8 of the Canadian Elite Basketball League as Danger barrels through, but it's a charge. It was Acott who drew it.
Big time job by Acott. He's the help defender, gets right in front of Danger, just knows it. He can't challenge him above the rim, so he's gonna stay below, get his feet set, pick up the charge.
Yeah, it was Mike Rainbow told us that year by year it's Acott who's matured. They moved him around different positions through training camp, trying to find where he's most comfortable. Has it here off the screen. Kicks it into the corner to Hildebrand. It slips out. Donald comes down with the rebound. Rooms spins away from trouble. And it remains Edmonton's ball with 14 on the shot clock. Our first look there at Isaac Jack, a rookie from Port Alberni, BC. Jack did not even start playing basketball until 6 years ago. He is 6'11", has arrived from the University of Pacific, where Dave Smart is now coaching. As Hildebrand defended well, but what a bucket from Bandumel.
And everybody has a little celly after a basket.
Yeah.
They're too small. I got a small fry in the post, but
Check it, that was Trey King, by the way.
you can see the bump in the post, the mid post here, boom. You know, eat this right shoulder, boom, creates the space, and the gather goes up and elevates into the shot. Out of frame, we don't get to see the celly, but again, hitting you with the too small. Those are one of the ones where players hate seeing it. The defender hates seeing it where, you know, the offense is saying, hey, you can't defend me. You're too small to defend me. It's kind of disrespectful.
Well, when you're 6'7", 230, you know, the defender's probably going to be a little smaller. But wasn't it interesting yesterday? Jordan Baker said we defensively have more length and athleticism that we've ever had. And Baker knew kind of coming into this season that they had to retool this roster, and they have.
Yeah, I mean, the league is getting better, right? More talent year over year. You're seeing some of the feature players stay and adding more talent. I thought Baker made an interesting point by getting more length in there, right? And what that does, it gives you a bit more optionality, a bit more versatility on the defensive end, where you're not caught as much playing one-on-one. You're not leaving guys out on the island, but there's the ability to switch more, the ability to, you know, press up in the open court and, you know, cover a lot more real estate, a lot more ground, so long as guys are active, using their hands. And you're seeing it here today. They do a good job of blocking shots, but also deflecting and being disruptive.
Packed house in Edmonton today, and if you're in northern Alberta, your summer plans just got serious. You can join for multiple special edition theme nights throughout the season. Purchase your Stingers tickets today at thestingers.ca/tickets. Those Stingers lead by 4 under 4 minutes to go in the second quarter. Tillman looks inside, knocked away by Rooms, will remain Winnipeg's ball. Now Allen goes to work on Rooms. The step back for 3 is way off. Terrific defense from Aaron Rooms.
Yeah, and Aaron Rooms moving his feet, right? He's physical enough to guard Teddy Allen. And that type of shot, right, the quality and the percentage of it goes down when you force Teddy to take off-balance fadeaway shots.
This time in transition, Allen finishes. 8 on the night for Teddy Allen. If you told Jordan Baker before the game that would be the total in the opening 17 minutes, he'd take it. Scramble for the ball. Donald comes up with it. 8 on the shot clock. To Isaac Jack. And a foul. So the foul was on Jack. So he pushed off. Offensive foul. Jordan Baker is confused as we are. But after all that, 2-point game, and here's Armani Cheney. Bring it up for Winnipeg. Both teams struggling from the perimeter today. Here's Allen going right. And it'll remain Sea Bears ball. Teddy wanted a foul. Didn't get the call. And it's Hildebrand who gets him away from any kind of extracurricular.
This is perfect. Right now you can see Teddy getting frustrated, right? You can see him chirping at the officials. But, you know, what they're doing as soon as he touches the basketball, you look at Jack here, taking away his space, right? Give Teddy Allen space, he can score. But Jack, the big man, just really collapsing on him and not allowing him to maneuver in the paint.
Allen swarmed again. Leaves it to Tillman. It doesn't fall. And Rooms kept it alive. Will remain Edmonton.
If you're Edmonton, you give something up. You're okay with that, right? Again, you're crowding Teddy Allen, and you have Tillman taking the jump shot right at the free throw line. That's okay. If he makes it, he makes it. You adapt, you adjust on the next play, but you force the basketball out of Teddy's hands and not let their best player, their feature player, beat you.
It is a physical game. What Jordan Baker tell us? He said, expect Saturday to be a hard hat, mouth guard kind of game. It's lived up to it so far. Now Donald.
That's exactly who Baker was as a player. Exactly. I used to hate playing against him in Canada basketball training camp, right? He'd come in, young guy, not afraid to get his nose dirty, not afraid to hurt you on fast break, cut you, undercut you. But he had a good heart, really good guy. But he played dirty. He played hard, he played dirty.
Donald scored 14 against these Sea Bears in the final home game last year. Take a look at Mike Rainbow, not only the coach of the Sea Bears, but the boss of the Winnipeg Westmen in U Sports basketball. Wearing a lot of hats now on the pro and amateur side. Under 2.5 to go in the first half. The Stingers lead the Sea Bears by 3. Coming up at the half, Donovan Bennett, Tamika Nurse, Javon Shepard, part of our halftime show on the CEBL on CBC. Quality minutes from Tay Donald for Edmonton here in the first half. Acott back to Allen. We're almost waiting for the double to come. It doesn't. Now Warren. Davion Warren. Rooms with the defense. Rebound collected by Acott, who's no good from the perimeter. And a loose ball foul on Edmonton. So it'll remain Winnipeg ball. It's the Sea Bears who are controlling the offensive glass.
Yeah, they're controlling it because they're shooting 18% from the three-point line, right? So they need a couple of those to drop, especially because Edmonton's taking away the paint, right? They're collapsing the floor, they're forcing you to shoot the basketball from the three-point line. But they need a couple of those to start dropping.
Here's Warren into the paint. Hounded by Jack. Now Krause again. And rooms the board. Here's Bandumel, going to work on Teddy Allen. And the fadeaway goes. Emmanuel Bandumel, the 27-year-old from Quebec City.
That's, tough basket, right? Reads the defense, gets to his right hand, his strong hand. Teddy Allen doing a good job moving his feet, cuts it off. And he spins away, creating the space to get up into that jump shot.
The Stingers have had their eye on Bandumel for 3 years now. Missed out on him in 24 as the ball goes off Warren's fingertips. Then Emmanuel had the ACL injury last year. He finally has landed in Edmonton. And Jordan Baker talked about the infectious energy that Emmanuel Bandumel brings the Stingers. Thrown away by Boursier. Acott, the charge.
Winnipeg right now, they just have to be smarter, right? They're not scoring the basketball fluidly, so when you have opportunities like this, right, you got to find a way to convert. You can't Acott there, just not reading the floor, right? That's a smaller defender. Right, get that basketball to the mid-post and make plays from it. Or find a way to put the basket, find the open man, and get somebody an easy look. Too many offensive charges for Winnipeg in this first half of basketball.
So timeout on the floor as the Sea Bears trail by 5. You think about Teddy Allen, what he is, what he brings to the floor. 8 points so far, but there's been a lot of frustration because of how Edmonton has defended him. And it's not just double teams. They're doing some different things.
Yeah, they're really crowding him. They're throwing double teams. They're switching. But I think that's also, something that you have to welcome, right? You're the focal player. Everybody in this league knows 2023, you're the MVP, right? And you're going to draw a lot of attention. That's what we call gravity, right? Use that to your advantage. You don't have to be a scorer playing against this defense. right? But if you can draw some of those doubles, if you can get into the paint and draw 3 defenders and fan out and get, you know, the other 4 guys higher quality shots, right, then you put the pressure on them. You've done your job, right? As a scorer, you don't always have to put the basketball in the hole, but you can use that attention to get your other guys, get everybody flowing, and then what happens is the defense has to play more honest, and the quality of your shots go up.
Yeah, Allen said, look, I've come back from a couple of years away from this league. I'm more experienced, I'm smarter, I'm poised. And he said, look, I'm now able to adapt. There was a coaching change. He was traded when he was in the G League. He said, I can accept different types of coaching now at the age of 27 too. Under a minute to play, second quarter. Stingers with their biggest lead of the day as Samaj Teal has it redirected. It's Bandumel now for 3. It doesn't go. Acott collects it. Allen fires it into the corner. Davion Warren can't have it go. Teal now leads the break. Back to Bandumel. Through the lane. Rooms can shoot it. And the finish from Adis Tony.
Hustle plays, right? That's 2 offensive rebounds. You get the best shot in the game, you know, from Rooms, offensive rebounds, kick out for a 3, and then another board for 2.
And Winnipeg with a wasted possession as the half ends. What a run by the Stingers to end the second quarter. Their biggest lead of the day is now at 10.
Edmonton's brand of basketball, right? It's a marathon. Here you get that offensive kick out for a 3 and then a tip in. And that's where, you know, Winnipeg has got to box off, right? And, you know, these guys got to be a little bit more aggressive coming out in the second half.
Let's go down the floor and Mark Majot.
Hey, that was a nice run to end the first half for your team. You're up at the half. What do you think's been working for the Stingers this afternoon?
You know, we're new together, only about a week in, so our plan has just been defense. You know, if we can cause turnovers and get on the glass, you know, it's been working for us.
Home opener, the crowd is electric. Is that something your team is able to feed off heading into the second half?
Oh, for sure. We love the crowd here in Edmonton. I think we personally have the best fans in the CEBL, so it's definitely nice to hear them, for sure.
Thank you, Tay. Best luck in the second half. Back to Arash in the booth.
Mark Tay, thank you so much. The Stingers lead is 10 after 2 quarters of play. The Stingers doing a solid job on Teddy Allen so far. Donovan Bennett, Tamika Nurse, and Javon Shepard to break it down on the CABL on CBC.
a first half of action. Stingers up 10, their largest lead of the game. It was a defensive masterpiece, if you will. The stats, though, tell an interesting story on this one. Remarkably close, but the stat that you don't see here is a couple of things. One, I didn't know we were going to get 2 ooh-wees from Javon to start the game.
No, we were going to get that.
That was not on my bingo card. But you also don't see there the blocks and defensively. And it's funny, when we talked to Jordan Baker in the lead-up of this game, when he talked about his guys, he started with defense every time. When he watches this tape, he's going to be really happy about the defense. He'd be mad that you called him a dirty player.
Yes.
But what?
Tell the truth.
Well, tell the truth on how they're getting it done on the defensive end.
Well, for one, it hasn't been exactly art on the offensive end for Winnipeg, but you want to credit Edmonton for the defensive play, right? All 10 guys, all 5 guys that are on the floor, at a time they play just like Jordan Baker, dirty, scrappy. They really get into you, and what they do is really close the paint. As soon as guys get downhill, you're seeing 2, 3, 4 defenders, right? They force Winnipeg into 14 turnovers, a number of blocks. But it's really how they collapse the floor. And then I think that's given them opportunity to get out on the offensive end. But all, 5 defenders are really disciplined. They're getting up, they're staying vertical. They're not breaking their plane and getting into foul trouble, but really doing, a big-time job of being assertive on that defensive end of the floor. And everybody's on a string. Everybody's in tandem, working as an army.
Tamika, Winnipeg only got their offense when they weren't facing the 5 defenders, when they went early.
Yeah, we talked about it in the pregame, and Coach Rainbow said the same thing. They haven't been together that long, so it's very hard as an offense to be able to gel that quickly. When Winnipeg is their best is when they get out early and they share the ball. What they have to do is continue to play at an upbeat pace. So you'll see here, they come off screens, they're gonna share the ball, and they're gonna attack the rim and get themselves some easier looks with that extra pass. If they can also turn their defense into some offense, playing here in transition is for sure going to be their best option.
What Tamika's trying to tell you is they need to play a little bit more like how she did in her prime, right?
Okay.
Get out and run.
Get out. That's what I could do. I couldn't
She's
shoot.
not going to play much defense, but if they can get out into transition
insane.
and make it a trap meet, then it's going to bode well.
I didn't come up here to
But if
take
they continue
strays.
and play this pace of basketball, that's more Edmonton's brand of basketball. Winnipeg, they got to get on a run and get Teddy, to really navigate the floor in a little bit more space where you're not playing against this stagnant, tough defense.
First Jordan Baker, then Tamika Nurse. Whose character will he come after in the second half? Stay tuned for that, and let's see how this game is going to end. We talk target score after the break. CEBL on CBC. Calm down. Welcome back. Now, what's the worst part of most basketball games? The end. Make it make sense. Fouls and timeouts and reviews. 4 minutes takes 40 minutes. Well, in the CEBL, they do things a little bit differently. That's right, I'm talking target score. Esperani breaks it down for us.
Target score time. Target time. Throwing it up and
If you haven't watched CEBL basketball before, it's more than homegrown hoopers and international stars putting on a show for fans coast to coast. Beyond your typical highlight reel plays, our game creates anticipation right to the final buzzer. We do things a little different here at the CEBL. Let me introduce you to Target Score Time. This format keeps things exciting by guaranteeing a game winner every single game. The comebacks, the game-winning alley-oops, next bucket win scenarios, target score is where it happens. The rules are simple. The first time the game clock is stopped with 4 minutes or less in the fourth quarter, the clock turns off. Add 9 points to the leading team's score, that becomes the target score. The first team to that number wins. Every bucket matters. Every possession counts. And we've been treated to some pretty memorable moments over the years. Former MVP Khalil Ahmad seals the deal with a massive three in last year's Eastern Conference Finals. Winnipeg's Alex Campbell became the first Canadian in league history to reach the 1,000-point mark with a plus three-pointer to seal the victory for the Sea Bears. Canadian Thomas Kennedy's big steal, followed by a massive poster in a next bucket win scenario.
Thomas Kennedy for the win! Yes! He didn't do that! Oh my God!
So, what moments will happen this year? Watch CEBL basketball live on CBC Gem and CBC YouTube to find out. Tune in to Canada's Pro Basketball League all summer long.
Well, who's going to be clutch in target time? Got some dogs on the court, literally and figuratively. I can't wait to see. Stay with us. More CEBL action after this.
Welcome back to Edmonton, joined by head coach Mike Rainbow. Mike, what was the biggest issue for your team in that first half?
I think ball control. I mean, obviously we were 2 of 14 from 3. We had 14 turnovers. We had opportunities in transition to convert. We ended up turning the ball over instead of coming up with points on the board.
What are some adjustments you want to see here coming out of the second half?
Yeah, we'd like to play with a little bit better pace. I mean, we want to continue to get after it defensively. Like I said, I thought we created some scoring opportunities through our defense that we just didn't convert, and we have to continue to work to make those happen.
Thank you. Best of luck in the second half.
Thank you.
Back to Arash and Javon in the booth.
Yeah, Mark, thanks for that. 9 points in the second quarter for the Sea Bears. Not what you want, and you don't want Teddy Allen corralled the way the Stingers have Winnipeg's top player too.
Yeah, I think it's to be expected, right? You know, this is the first game of the season for these two teams, and you know it's not going to be pretty. But that first half of basketball is behind you now. You have an opportunity to play, you know, a quarter and you know, and some, you know, before target time. And it's going to be important that, you know, for Winnipeg, they clean up, you know, some of those turnovers. You know, the quality of shots that they're going to get should be better, right? And getting out in transition is important to see the basketball go through the hoop and get some of that confidence, not play against this tough, gritty interior defense of Edmonton.
Just a minor clock issue that's being rectified at the Expo Centre. Packed house in Edmonton, Northlands area. Opener season number 8 of the Canadian Elite Basketball League. Arash Badani, Javon Shepard, Mark Majot, our entire CBC Sports crew. Stingers lead by 7. We've seen both coaches go deep into their bench, and Javon, as you kind of mentioned, both teams trying to figure out who they are, what they have. The training camps lasting only about a week.
Yeah, and you have to get familiarized with guys, not just your systems, but where guys like the basketball. You know, action right here, just getting Teddy a cleaner look, right? He's cutting off of the weak side while that ball screen is going over to the sideline. And now that's just one-on-one play, right? You take all those defenders, you get them out onto the perimeter, and Teddy has a little bit more space and room. If he can play one-on-one, you know, it's a good look for you on Winnipeg.
So Teddy Allen, we mentioned at the start of the show, the MVP of the CEBL back in 2023. He missed that first free throw. One of 2 at the line. As a rookie, Teddy will tell you, he said, if we didn't lose E.J. Hanasike back in 2023, we'd have won it all. He maintains that 3 years later. That would have been the case for Winnipeg. He picks the pocket of Dane Danger there. Allen leads the break. Retreats to Armani Cheney. Cheney now drives right. Swung to Acott at the top. Buckets.
I'm sure Coach Baker's going to have something to say about Dane Danger. That's 2 turnovers coming out of the half from him, which is costing, right? And Teddy Allen, the beneficiary of coming up with that steal.
This time the pass. Danger finds Adis Toney, and that's one thing that Baker talked about.
Passing.
Just what an elite distributor of the basketball Danger is.
Yeah, you look at his size, 6'9", right? And the ability to pass over the top of the defense, right? His vision is there. Now just zipping that basketball and getting it in, executing those plays, and you see it on that last one.
Allen off balance, wanted the call, didn't get the whistle. Danger now, coast to coast.
Well, it's fair to say he's made up for it, those 2 turnovers.
No longer in the doghouse.
No longer, not at all.
Like nothing happened. Here's David Walker. Back to Acott, swung to Teddy Allen, who stepped out of bounds.
Let's talk about a big man pushing the basketball, right? This is 2026 modern basketball. You got 6'9", 250 moving it. Little whoop, now you see me, now you don't. Right hand finish, little leg kiss off of the glass.
Dane Danger, we mentioned it, only 23 years old, 6'9", 255. What a presence. As David Walker is whistled for the foul. Danger averaged 14 and 5 with Sioux City in the G League this season. A little too strong on that one as Acott comes down with it and is just hounded by Mason Boursier.
Well, you see the difference in that transition, right? Transition defense. Boursier picking up Acott in the open court, not allowing him to just push the basketball and get where he wants. So great job by Edmonton.
And the bank. Armani Cheney, he'll take it.
It is Saturday, right? I didn't know the banks were open. I didn't know the banks were still open.
I thought the banks were closed because the IT department's definitely closed. As Acott forces the turnover, Cheney finishes and a quick 5-0 run has Winnipeg within 2. Here's Bandumel for 3. Doesn't go. The jumper won't fly, and it's Tillman who gets bumped to the ground and a foul.
Cheney here, I don't know if he called this one as well, 5 p.m. Eastern time, but you got banks open. Cheney. Here you see Cheney in transition. This is when Winnipeg's really at its best. You get out, you force a turnover, manufacture offense from your defense.
So what an interesting story Armani Cheney is. He was out of basketball for 4 years. He finished up his college at Tennessee State in 2019. Didn't come back to the game until 2023. He tore his meniscus late in his senior season at Tennessee State. He didn't have the support, the resources to get surgery or rehab or physio, and he'd just become a dad. He ended up working 3 jobs. The pandemic hit. But Cheney was still in the gym. He had hopes of continuing his basketball career. Then a call came from the Newfoundland Rogues in something called the Basketball Super League. Cheney lit it up there, scoring 30 a night. It opened doors to play in Austria, Turkey, and Mexico. As you see the foul there, Tillman hitting the deck again. Trey King bumped him.
You know what I hear when you talk about Cheney and you know, documenting his story, all I hear is somebody that's going to be hungry.
Yeah.
Right? Because the game was taken from him for so long, and you get an opportunity to get back out there between the lines. Right? That is somebody, if I'm his opposition, right, I'm putting an asterisk beside him. He may not have the biggest stats, but you know every time he steps on the floor, right, he's gone without this game. That's meant so much to him, right? So the love and passion that he's going to play with, and being 29 years old, he understands, you know, the value on every minute, every possession.
Yeah, it was Mike Rainbow who said, Armani, he's just grateful.
Yeah.
So they found themselves a point guard with Armani Cheney, Mike Rainbow and his staff have, as Jeremiah Tillman ties this game at 38 apiece, knocking down the free throws. And the Stingers' lead that was 7 has now been erased. And Winnipeg has more points already in this third quarter, 11, than the 9 they scored in the second.
A lot of those have been in transition, right? And that was the thing at half we spoke about it, Tamika and I, where, you know, if they can control the pace of this game and not play Edmonton's pace, right, they give themselves a really good chance in this game.
Here's Trey King finishing with the right hand. Welcome to the CEBL, Trey King. Back to Tillman. And the 6'10" big man, he ties things up at 40. And the reach. So both teams are now going deep into their bench. Here's Simon Hildebrand checking back in. Hildebrand, by the way, wears 15. first ever draft choice in Sea Bears history. He was the top pick back in the 2023 draft. Jack with the handoff to Tay Donald. He pulls up from 17. It doesn't go. Allen the rebound. Winnipeg. We'll have Davion Warren headed to the line.
This is what I wanted to see from Winnipeg right in that first half. Good defense, rebound, and then push the basketball. Teddy Allen playing unselfish, getting it up the perimeter, advancing the basketball, and then they're getting really good looks at the rim.
Well, it's one of the best atmospheres in the CEBL, and you can catch all the exciting hoops from the Canada Life Centre as part of your Sea Bears summer. Pick up your tickets today, seabears.ca/tickets. What a start to the third quarter by the Sea Bears. Outscoring Edmonton 15-6 so far. Trey King, it's off. Allen soars for the rebound. Teddy, long distance to Hildebrandt, who finishes. And after not much was going right in the second, plenty is in the third for Winnipeg as King knocks down the triple. Jordan Baker told us he can shoot it. Warren gets it back. And then finds Tillman underneath. Nice little give and go.
Yeah, nice right there, right? Continuation, they stay patient. They get to the secondary of that action. Then you get a, touch right at the elbow. The big man's ready. Tillman ready, hands ready as he rolls to the basket.
Allen dominating on the glass here. Pops it up. Donald gets by Krause. The three won't fall. And Allen another rebound. Didn't go for Davion Warner. Frenetic pace to this third quarter. It's been all Winnipeg. Teddy Allen underneath the Hildebrandt. Well, the Winnipeg Sea Bears have come out firing in this third quarter, outscoring Edmonton 19-9.
Well, 10-point difference in the quarter. They're shooting 56% from the floor. A lot of it has been manufactured from their defense, converting on the offensive side of the floor. Plays like this, scrappy, Acott, out, pass, layup. But transition play after transition play, they want to utilize their talent. They want to utilize their athleticism. But the best thing they've done in the second half is get out and just run the basketball, advancing it over the top, and Teddy Allen doing a good job being unselfish, you know, getting everybody involved. And when everybody eats, guess what happens? They're going to be a little bit more motivated on the defensive end and give a little bit more oomph.
Allen taking a breather as we go down to the third member of our crew, and Mark Majot.
Hey guys, speaking of Teddy Allen, he currently has a franchise record, 5 steals in this game. He shares that record with Terry Roberts and Tavion Jones. He is 3 steals away from a CEBL record held by Xavier Moon. He did it in this building against Hamilton back in 2021. You get the sense neither coaches are thrilled with the amount of turnovers they saw in that third quarter. We'll see if they can tighten it up.
Yeah, that's certainly the case. Xavier Moon, by the way, Winnipeg can't wait to have him back in the fold, patiently waiting for his playoff run to finish overseas.
I'll say this much, it's going to be fun to see, you know, him and Teddy share the floor together, because Xavier's so fast, so quick, unselfish. He's going to draw a lot of attention. And in Teddy, he's a knockdown guy, especially when he doesn't have to handle as much and, you know, be the gravitational pull, right? He's going to get a ton of open shots, right? This Winnipeg team is going to be a high-powered offense.
Yeah, Winnipeg has 4 players who have yet to report, including Moon, Nate Bielamu, Isaiah Osborne. His free throws will be coming up for Davion Warner. For Edmonton fans wondering about Nick Hornsby, Jordan Baker told us yesterday the May 31st game against Calgary, that would be the earliest that Hornsby returns to the fold.
And, you know, a lot of these teams are going to have guys, you know, come into the fold as the season goes on. I mentioned before, right, you got to have 3 iterations of your team, right? And, you know, guys, roles are going to change as well, right? A guy like Davion Warren, he's going to be more of a secondary guy, right, ball handler. He's going to handle a lot of the scoring as well with Teddy Allen, but when you get Xavier Moon into the mix, you have a bigger guard, right? He's going to handle a lot more of the defensive responsibility, with Moon being a smaller guard, and teams probably going to try and pick him out, where, you know, Davion's going to try and, you know, mask him a bit and mask, you know, Teddy. Although we're seeing Teddy, you know, have a little bit more effort and energy on the defensive end of the floor. But, you know, that's something for fans to watch as well, right? The roles of guys, how they shift, the coaching, right? How that changes as the season goes on. And, you know, you get more talent, you lose guys, and hopefully everybody stays healthy, but that's also something that you have to consider as well.
Here's the triple from Edmonton. And just like that, the Stingers are back in it. Samaj Teal from long distance.
Teal realized he come off a screen, hand down, man down.
Kevin Cross Jr. back into the game for Winnipeg. Allen spun into a double team. Now David Walker has it rejected by Isaac Jack. Welcome to the CEBL, big fella.
Edmonton forcing Winnipeg to work. You see Jack cleaned off the pass, big man. Let me get those. I need every one of those.
So mobile at his size. Jack 6'11", 250. First professional game of his young career. Now Allen in the corner. Off the side of the backboard, and it's Jack who collects it. Edmonton led by as many as 7. That was the lead at the half. The Sea Bears now in transition. Cheney swings it to Walker, now to Allen. Buckets! And Teddy Allen has 12. Walker forcing the turnover. Here's Teddy again, pulls up. And the tip in from Acott. Everything going Winnipeg's way in this third quarter.
Pace, pace, pace. Right, and getting out, you know where your shots are coming from. Even on that one, Acott comes up with the rebound, but that's because you know the basketball's going to Allen on the perimeter. Everybody gets in rebounding position in transition.
Pass picked off by Abdul Muhammad, and Acott will foul him with 1:28 to go in the third quarter. Our Cal Tire Cruise of the Game is presented by Cal Tire.
Nice thing to swing out. Extra pass by David Walker. Teddy Allen, bucket. This is what he does, right? Just so comfortable with the basketball in his hands. You get to him at the three-point line, he's gonna deliver. But just a guy that knows where shots are gonna come from, knows how to put the basketball in the hole. And that's why I'm so excited when Xavier Moon joins this team, how it's gonna impact and open up the floor for Teddy Allen.
You know, it's interesting. You think about Winnipeg being down 7 at the end of 3. It was Teddy with the rebounds over and over and creating transition opportunities as Teal knocks down the 3. Allen's got 8 rebounds, and then later in the period, it's a couple of triples that he's been able to contribute on both.
Find different ways to impact the game, especially when your offense is not falling, right? Him being a vet now, right? You got to rebound, you got to defend, you got to communicate, keeps you engaged, and good things start to happen.
Here comes Edmonton. They like to run. The triple from Bandumel doesn't go, and free throws on the way for Abdul Muhammad. So this the start of the 2026 CEBL season. You can follow at CEBL League on all social platforms to stay up to date on storylines, standouts, stats, and more from all 10 teams in Canada's Pro Basketball League. Abdul Muhammad started his career in Canada's Pro Basketball League, then had runs in Germany and England and Norway. Returned to Montreal last season and has found a home in Edmonton. He said one of the reasons he chose the Stingers, he wants to play with Nick Hornsby. They were teammates back in Germany a few years ago. 1-point game, under a minute to play in the 3rd quarter. Warren had his pass intercepted, but off a Stinger. Off Bandumel with 15 on the shot clock. Tell you what, Bandumel's come as advertised, hasn't he? Yeah. Stingers bring in a little more size for the final 43 seconds as Jack checks back in. The big man had 15 double-doubles at Pacific this past season. Here's Aycock with 5 on the shot clock. And a foul away from the ball on Tillman.
But Aycock, you misread that play, right? You had the screen-to-screener action, and you had Tillman with a smaller defender on him off of that left block, right?
And now attack. And now attack on Tillman to boot.
You know, and he's got to be mad at his own teammate, right? Aycock missed it, right? And that's where you got to direct that energy. Right, you come off of that screen and he's calling for it. You got to feed him in that block. He has all right to be upset. Not at the officials. That play was ran to execution. Right, you've got to just read the floor a little better.
So a personal and a tech for Tillman. He'll take a seat with 31.3 seconds to go. He's still having the conversation from the bench. And the Stingers could go 2 for 1 here, but they won't. Here's Trey King. Way off. And now Winnipeg can settle for the last shot of the 3rd quarter.
I'm not exactly sure that was, well, King might have seen the substitution coming in for him and said, I'm just going to get this shot up. Because that's probably not the shot you want if you're not going for the 2 for 1.
Players don't do that, do they? Never. Here's Teddy Allen. Draws the double. Hildebrand. And after 3, the Sea Bears outscore the Stingers by 8 in the 3rd. The Teddy Allen Show beginning to take shape on opening day of this 2026 CEBL season on CBC. Well, the Winnipeg Sea Bears are pleased to have Teddy Allen back into the fold, and you saw why in that third quarter. He's got a game-high 12 points.
Well, he's doing a bit of everything, right? 12 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, and like I said, he's giving you a little bit on the defensive end as well, moving his feet, forcing turnovers, 6 steals rather. But a good job, again, just understanding. You can see he's getting more mature, right? And his game is growing, it's expanding. He's sharing the basketball. And this is what he does, right? That's his staple. That's where he hangs his hat at the three-point line. Knows exactly what to do when he gets that basketball at that three-point line. The shoes are kind of nice as well. That hot pink, little hot pink on the feet.
So 52-51, you talk about everything Teddy Allen does. He has now also set a single-game franchise record with 6 steals. The Stingers went cold in the third quarter. What does Edmonton need to do now in the fourth?
Well, you know, they got to control this game again, right? And the shots that they're getting on the offensive end, they've got to start knocking down a few of those, right? So at least you're not playing against Winnipeg running the basketball, because you're having success defensively when you're playing against Winnipeg in the half court, but you're putting too much pressure on your defense when you can't convert on the offensive end.
Fourth quarter underway in Edmonton. Arash Madani, Javon Shepard, Mark Majot with you. CEBL opener, season number 8. Here's Armani Chaney. 3 a little too strong. Allen from deep. And that's 15 tonight for Teddy Allen.
And best shot in the game, right? Offensive rebound, it gets kicked out. Teddy Allen, the best shooter in the arena. He has about 3 seconds to get the seams on the basketball lined up. That's a gimme.
And that's Akot blocking Muhammad. And Davion Warren finishes in transition. The 3 won't go for Teal. It'll stay Stingers ball. So Winnipeg opens the fourth the way they started the third.
Well, they want to run up the score right now, because it's really a race to target time, and then, you know, that's another game in itself. So if you're Winnipeg right now, you're trying to run the score up. You're trying to get this gap as big as possible.
Adise Tony with the points. The inbounds plays have been solid for Edmonton underneath. 4-point game, a little over a minute gone by in the fourth. Winnipeg lost the Western Conference Final on home court last season as the 3 goes in and out.
Good defense here. Defense always the offense, right? Akot coming on that help side, block shot. Now you're getting out, you're running, pushing it like a truck. 18-wheeler. Getting out Warren, nice lay, the left-hand finish, a little finesse.
We We talked about Emmanuel Vandemel coming as advertised. Emmanuel Acott, the same. 4th year in the league, this 27-year-old from Winnipeg. Began his CBL career with Ottawa, has done a little of everything for the Sea Bears. Allen grabs rebound number 9. Allen goes coast to coast.
Just pushing, right? He went up the floor. You get a stop, you're going up the floor. He had that basket in 3 seconds right there. Right now, the focus for Winnipeg is really just pushing it, pace down Edmonton's throats.
Donald's 3, really short. Allen goes to work, draws the foul. So he gets the star call there, and he had a whole bunch of space going coast to coast.
And you look at this, right? I was talking about the 3 seconds, gets the basketball up the floor, 3 dribbles, 4, 5. Right there, a little fake, a little now you see me, now you don't. Crafty finish around the rim.
One of the most dynamic players in league history. The top player in the league 3 seasons ago. And he is in good company when you think about the top players in the history of this league.
Great company, great company. Those guys have all been, electrifying players and, dynamic players.
Coming back after the way things ended in Winnipeg in 2024, he said this is a good opportunity to take away any bad taste that I or anyone else had.
Yeah, I think when it didn't work out in Winnipeg the first time, so much was made of it, and oftentimes players get labeled, poor characters, and bad, whatever the case may be, and I think, too much was placed on that, right? And think about it, he's back with the same Winnipeg team that has the same ownership.
Yeah.
So that's not a bad character, right? They wouldn't have brought you back. I think sometimes it just doesn't work out. Coach player, has a shelf life, and fortunately for him, right, he was a heck of a player, and I think an even better person, simply based on the fact that this same ownership brought him back.
Ownership led by David Asper in Winnipeg. What a job they've done to make Canada Life Centre an electric atmosphere. Meanwhile, here's Aaron Rooms. Good no call and a good finish for the Mississauga man. Third season in Edmonton, first year getting a pro contract for Aaron Rooms, who's adjusted to the speed and physicality of this professional league. 3 is way off in the corner from Walker. And Dane Danger draws the foul.
Man, he is so skilled. That 6'9", like not just handling the basketball, but putting it behind his back, right, and then around the rim, taking the contact, late whistle, still playing through it. But we're talking about baseline to baseline handling the rock.
So we have a timeout on the floor with the Sea Bears leading by 4. And how about Aaron Rooms here?
Look how physical he is, right? He just completely knocks Acott out of the way, to spin, the balance, the focus on the shot. Young fella, but he plays like a vet.
It was interesting talking to Jordan Baker yesterday. He said Rooms is really getting a feeling for where the spots are, on where and how to find space.
Yeah, he's growing, right? Growing in his game. And I mentioned before, he's played in this league a couple seasons now where he's been in that developmental player role. But now, a lot is going to be expected of him. A lot's going to be on his shoulders. And, a guy like that coming off, U Sport Player of the Year, everybody knows him, right? He's going to be on every scouting report. So you're not just a development player anymore. You're not the young guy, right? You're going to be a part of, what teams are game planning for. And it's going to be important and really a growth moment in his career, right? There's a shift. These are grown men, right? They're trying to put food on the table for their families, right? And now, you're going to be a focal point on their scouting reports.
Rooms led the TMU Bull to the national semifinal this season at the U Sports Final 8.
Look at this shot right here, right at the elbow, so comfortable. our people in the truck, our producers, some of the best in the business, getting us the right visuals. Danny G in the truck, taking care of us.
Shout out to our producer, Dan Gladman, our director today, Mike Alderson. On the graphics, Ryan Moyer, and in studio, our producer is Rhonda Kirkpatrick. As Dane Danger steps to the line. Dane Danger's college career has basically now become what the NIL portal journey can be. Baylor, Illinois, Memphis, collecting checks at each point.
Yeah.
Knocking down free throws here, making it a 2-point game.
It puts a lot more pressure on the general managers and ownership of these teams because some of these rookies and second-year guys, they've made a couple $100,000 in college already, right? So if you aren't breaking the bank or cutting those checks, right? These guys aren't batting the eye over here.
Allen couldn't get that one to go. Here's Teal. Swings it around into the corner. Bandumal is money, and Edmonton retakes the lead. They are loving it at the Expo Centre.
This is going to be a tight little finish, right? You got about 1:30 left until you're at that 4-minute mark and a stoppage of play until we're in target time.
There's Tillman, nice feed from Teddy Allen. And back and forth they go. Winnipeg, Edmonton. Coming up on the midway point of the 4th quarter as Danger finishes again. Jordan Baker told us we're gonna get him involved early and often, and they're doing that in money time.
Guys' eyes tend to light up in money time, as you call it, right? Danger here, just attacking Tillman and off balance, away from the basket, but get that ball high up off the glass with that left hand.
A minute to go until target time. Here's David Walker. Yearly travel, 1 on the shot clock. Aycott's got to pull the trigger. And Dane just soars for it.
But right now, again, Winnipeg going back to playing against this half-court defense, right? It's too tight.
Walker emerges from the wreckage. Can't finish in transition. Left alone. Long 2 doesn't go. And it's Danger who cleans up the mess. Danger doing a little of everything. $14 tonight for Danger. Allen throws it away.
Oh, that's a bad foul. That is a bad foul. That is tough. That's a bad foul because now you're going to get an opportunity for 3 points. Whereas, you're right at target time. You let that play go because it will only be 2 points additional on the board. And then at a stoppage of play, you're adding your 9. But now you're going to give an opportunity for, a 3-point play. Here you go. Pass, and Allen, you got to be smart at this. And that's an extension of pushing the back. You're going to get a flagrant on this one. You compound the issue. This is going to be, a terrible, terrible play going into target time, right? And if you're Coach Baker, if you're the Edmonton Stingers, right, they just, Teddy Allen just gave you a bone. You got to finish your breakfast, though. You get to that free throw line, got to finish it.
Target time awaits. Opening day, CEBL. Welcome back to Edmonton. It is target time here at the Expo Centre. A packed house in northern Alberta for it. And this was an intriguing situation getting into target time because it was an unsportsmanlike foul on Teddy Allen. But because it was a bucket and one, the free throw was missed. It will be Stingers ball to begin target time. The first to 77 will win this season opener. Thumbs up all around. We are ready. Clock is turned off. Here we go. Here's Emmanuel Bondumel. Inside to Deja.
Yeah, I like the patience there, not rushing. Sometimes you get to target time and everybody thinks you got to jack up threes, right? Staying patient with it, getting a high quality shot under the basket to Danger, touch pass, dunk.
What a night it has been for Dane Danger. 16.6 rebounds. Allen draws the bucket and the foul. What a crafty veteran move by Teddy Allen, who can now complete the three-point play.
Teddy getting into the paint here, just sticking with it, right? May have got away with a travel, but just finding a way to get over that left shoulder, get that basketball in the rim, the spin, the bump, the space, the little shuffle in the bucket.
Drew the foul on Adis Tony. Completes the three-point play. King gets away with a shove. And it should be Winnipeg ball. Now they're going to talk about it. It went off Danger. There was no foul called, and they've reversed the call correctly. It'll be Sea Bears.
I thought Tillman got away with one, right? I thought he pushed his backside into Danger. Both those guys fighting under the basket, hooked him and pushed him. Right, you get that basketball in and get out of the other end.
First to 77. Here's Armani Chaney being guarded by Tay Donald. Into the corner, and it's Mason Krause. Hey! Third from downtown today for Mason Krause. Played only 3 games as a rookie last year. And Danger draws the foul.
Krause cool as a fan on that last one, right? Knowing time, I shouldn't say time, knowing score rather, 77 needed on the clock. Change drive, kick out, tough defense, but a better shot.
Krause has only played 12 minutes. He's got 9 points on 3 threes.
Well, he knows what to do with it when he gets to that line.
Now Danger. Averaged 14 points and 5 rebounds a game with Sioux City in the G League this season. Jordan Baker told us Danger's going to be our featured guy. Hits the second free throw. Edmonton needs 6 to win this game. Winnipeg needs 8. Expo Centre coming alive. Allen for 3. No! And what a putback from Jeremiah Tillman Jr. Emphatic stuff. Tie game. King working on Allen. Good! Chaney finds space, swings in. Aycott, no. And it's Krause in the middle of all of it, drawing the loose ball foul.
You see Teddy Allen again right? Shot from three, long rebounds come in, and Tillman taking the rim with him. Edmonton right back on the other end. King with just a comfortable mid-range shot. Just walk Allen down and take this one.
Allen as it's stripped. Edmonton with numbers. Up for grabs, it's Krause again. They retreat to their star. Ooh. Cheney for three. And it's kept alive by Allen. And who else but Tillman underneath?
Well, if Edmonton loses this game, it's going to come down to offensive rebounds, right? Winnipeg really being relentless on the offensive glass right now, and it's been rewarding.
Here's Tony in traffic. Danger cleans it up. Edmonton 2 points away. And Allen will go to the line.
Allen, another shot, and like I said, right, the offensive glass is where Winnipeg has really won and really ate. Danger on the other end coming right back. Same type of play, sticking with it. I don't know where the defense was. He parted the Red Sea for that too.
Teddy Allen with 22 points tonight. Make it 23.
All right, now this is what we came here for.
Next basket wins. Timeout, Edmonton.
This is what everybody lives for. Everybody, on both benches right now, tie game, and that target score is 77. Everybody licking their chops, right? You want that last shot, right? You want that last play, and I think for the coaches as well, right? It's exciting, right? This is where you get to draw, your late game plays, your last second plays, right? And as a coach, your responsibility is to get a clean shot, get an open shot, and you leave it, to the guys on the floor.
Well, if the rest of the season is going to be anything like this game, we are in for a treat. Our next CBC game will come the beginning of July. Our rematch of last year's thrilling Western Conference semifinal. Calgary Surge, Vancouver Bandits, 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific. All right, here, Edmonton, Winnipeg, Stingers ball. Next basket wins. You're Jordan Baker. Are you looking for Danger?
You are, without a doubt, you're going right to Danger. You're trying to find a way to get the basketball to Danger because he's your best finisher around the rim, around the basket. He has size, get himself to the free throw line, but also, right, one of your best passers. So, if you get him the basketball and there's no double team, now he's playing one-on-one. If they shrink the floor a bit, right, if they shrink that floor, now he has an opportunity to make a play. And everybody's got to be ready on the floor. You don't have to, shoot a three ball, right? In fact, you want to get yourself to the free throw line or force a foul or a basket at the rim. But the great thing for Coach Baker is that he has somebody to go to in Danger.
Baker told us yesterday, Danger is exceptional around the cup. He's shown that so far today. Dane Danger, 19 points, 6 rebounds. Teddy Allen has 24 and 10. Here we go. Full court defense from the Sea Bears.
Winnipeg only with 3 fouls, right? So you have a couple to spare.
Here's Tay Donald. Won't fall. Up for grabs. The Sea Bears come out with it. And it's Krause who can shoot free throws for the win. What did we just see?
Well, you know, you're going to look at this basket, right? Didn't really come up and left the basketball short. Got an offensive rebound and drove into a crowd. Now you get this transition play. And Krause left that ball short. But to your point, going to get a chance at the free throw line. It's funny that this game comes down to, you know, transition play and opportunity for the Winnipeg Sea Bears. And, you know, I've said it all game, right? That, you know, playing with pace is going to be the difference maker for Winnipeg. And this last possession right here, you know, where they can end the game is at the hands of a fast break opportunity.
And Mason Krause wins it for the Winnipeg Sea Bears. The opening day hero for the hometown kid. Just 2 months ago, playing for the Manitoba Bisons, and today, off the bench, 3 triples and the game-winning free throws, and the Sea Bears are 1-0 on the season.
Talking about sticking with it, right? This game was not pretty. You knew it wasn't going to be pretty coming into it, but you had everybody from Winnipeg, you know, that touched that floor, just believe, right, and trust that they were going to win this game, right? It wasn't just the Teddy Allen show, right? It wasn't just, you know, the Krause show or, you know, Acott show. Everybody played, you know, a vital role in this game. And, you know, as you got into target time, you could just see, right, the confidence grow within this team, right? And Edmonton just wasn't able to convert, wasn't able to put the basketball in the hole throughout this entire game consistently enough to close this thing out. But, you know, to my point, Winnipeg, if they play in transition, you know, they're pretty strong. They have talent. And Krause, you know, he gets himself to the free throw line, but it wasn't against the half-court defense of Edmonton. It was a stop on one end. It was the run. It was the push, you know, the forced foul, and then getting yourself to the line to close it out. Not as climatic as, you know, a big shot, but a win is a win. And if you're Coach Rainbow, right, you go into this locker room right now and you're applauding your guys for, you know, coming out with this thing.
Mission accomplished. Go on the road, find a way. After only scoring 9 points in the second quarter, Mason Krause played 3 games for the Sea Bears last season, pivotal down the stretch for Winnipeg today. Our Booster Juice player of the game is with Mark Majot.
Joined by Teddy Allen. First, Teddy, welcome back to the CEBL. How was that for you this afternoon?
Wait, what'd you say?
Welcome back to the CEBL. How did this game go for you this afternoon?
Oh, it was good. It was a grind. It was a grinding game. You know, kind of first game. You know, a lot of turnovers, pretty ugly, but you know, luckily we got the win.
What was said? You were down at 7 points at halftime, came roaring out in the third quarter. What was said in that locker room that led to the surge?
Just that we were beating ourselves. Wasn't taking care of the ball. Missed a lot of threes. You know, just pretty much we was beating ourselves. Just if we clean that up, we thought we'd have a good chance.
And I know your team wanted to get that victory, the first pro victory for your head coach, Mike Rainbow. How good does that feel to get that win on the road in the first game of the season?
It's always great to, you know, come out, prevail on the road, you know, first game, you know, so we're happy about it. We're happy for him. Hopefully we keep it going.
Thanks for your time. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Let's throw it back.
Well, Mark, Teddy, thank you so much. Winnipeg on opening day comes from behind to get it done. Teddy Allen has returned to the CEBL. Mason Krause gets his moment. Donovan Bennett and company have it when we return after this.
Looking for stories about Indigenous peoples from across the country?
We know where you can find them.
Zinez Hotier, my name is Edzi Ulevrin, and I'm Tahltan Nation and Taku River Tlingit First Nation.
CBC Indigenous.
My name is Brett Forster, and I'm from the Chippewas of Kettle and Stony Point First Nation.
Creative.
Engaging.
Informative.
Grounded in First Nation.
Métis.
And Inuit communities.
Okay, take a break. This is the CEBL on CBC, and there you see the end of game stats. Sea Bears eking out a close one. Didn't seem like it was gonna be close for long. These numbers are remarkably close except for free throws, where the Sea Bears got to the line and shot it better. But we promote target time pre-game. We promote target time halftime. Target time was the story of this game, and target time started early, Javon, with an intentional foul that made things a little bit tricky to navigate.
Yeah, and I thought, Winnipeg would have lost the game there, right? And that coming from a veteran like Teddy Allen, I was a little bit surprised there. But what I was really appreciative of is that Winnipeg grew more confident, right? And I think obviously having the best closer in the arena in Teddy Allen, right, they trusted one another. And Coach Mike Rainbow, he knew exactly what to run. They knew exactly what they wanted to do. And in target time, I thought in their minds, the game slowed down for them and they were able to execute. They were able to make the big plays. And then even on that last play where Cross gets himself to the free throw line, right, that was the game for Winnipeg, the entire game, where for them to win, they need to play in transition. For them to have success, they got to get out into the open court, right? Shots didn't follow the entire game. So for them to, come up with a stop, advance the basketball, right, not make the basket, but still get rewarded by the free throw line, I thought that was, almost a microcosm of the game for Winnipeg. And they came out with a victory on Edmonton's home court, so that's big for them.
You know why I love this league? Because we talk about all these names that you're gonna see, these big-time scorers. You talk about the closer of the game. The closer of this game, arguably, was Mason Krause, the hometown kid who made so many big plays late.
Yeah, Mason Krause did not start the game. He only played about 16 minutes, but he made every moment count down the stretch. This team went 7 for 33 from the three-point line today. But when it mattered, Mason Krause hit a three when they needed them to. So I think you're talking about a league where anyone can step up on any day. And if you're the Sea Bears, you're really excited about what Mason Krause can do off the bench.
Yeah, now you talk about his shooting ability here, getting out in transition, but he knocked down some timely shots, and it isn't just about the three-point shots. It's not about the shot making. It's about making the big ones, right? And our guys ready for that moment when the ball touches their hands. Can you slow down the moment where you're not as nervous and you're not as hyper focused on, hey, I gotta make this shot? And I thought when the basketball touched his hands in a couple opportunities, he was more focused on making the shot and not afraid, to miss it. And that's the difference between closers and guys that are just really good players. So great for them. They didn't have to close out this game with Teddy Allen, right? But they used his gravity. And I thought Teddy, over the course of this game, right, he showed his maturity, right? He showed his growth in terms of, his unselfishness, his advancing of the basketball, his sharing of the basketball, using his ability to score and knowing that he's going to draw a lot of attention. And then also just having a calm, cooler mindset that we've seen in the past where he may have lost his head or, gone, off rails a bit. But it was that ability there was being that leader and that mature nature you could see permeate throughout the entire team.
We learned from Teddy and Mason that no matter what happens early in the game, shooters shoot, and they don't lose their confidence. Enough from us about Mason Krause. Let's hear from Mason Krause. He's standing by with our own Mark Michaud.
Well, Mason Krause, congratulations on the victory. What's going through your mind when you step to the free throw line with a chance to win the game?
Honestly, I was nervous at first, but then when Teddy talked to me and just saying he just believed in me and all that, it just pushed confidence in me. Because I got to the free throw, I'm like, oh, I hope I make this layup. I missed, and I was like, oh, man, all on me. But then my guys supporting me and saying, yeah, you got this. We believe in you. It was big.
Your team was down 7 points at halftime and just came firing out of a cannon to start that third quarter. What was said, and how were you able to adapt to the pressure the Stingers had in the fourth?
That's just all Rainbow, just instilling us like, hey, we're missing our shots. Like I think we were like 2 of 14 for 3 in the first half, and just staying the course. Our defense was good, and our offense was just figure it out. Rainbow just pushed us to keep fighting, and we just fought our way back.
I know you're quite familiar with your new head coach, Mike Rainbow, but what's it like to get his first pro victory on the road to open up the season?
I guess we just got shut out of U of M, shut out the Bisons. He couldn't have done it without Bison players, so that's all I gotta say.
Well, congratulations. Enjoy the rest of the day, and we'll see you down the road.
Yeah, thank you very much. Have a good one.
You love the U Sports love, and I loved what I saw from Teddy Allen. I'm interested, were you more impressed what you saw on the offensive side or the defensive side, where his feet barely got off the ground shooting the jumpers, but those puppies were moving defensively?
They were moving. It's got to be the defensive end for me because it shows a commitment. It shows, right, he's giving a little bit more, right? Everybody knows that Teddy Allen can score in this league. He didn't have a great shooting day, 2 for 10, but he had six steals, not turnovers. Doing a good job, and I said it early in the game where he was moving his feet, right? He was committed to that side, and I thought that was a difference maker because if your best player is also committed on that end, right, the other 4 players on the floor, they have to give on the defensive end as well. So just seeing him, show that improvement, show that commitment, and hey, I'm locking in on that end of the floor as well, just shows that mentality of, I want to win now. Like, I'm here to win.
Tamika, he earlier defamed your character and said you're all offense and no defense. So for you, more impressive what he did offensively or defensively?
I think defensively, just because when you're looking at a superstar on offense and your coach comes in and says, we're going to be a defensive-minded team, you have to be the guy that steps up and leads by example. I think this is a player who's trying to reestablish himself in this league, right? He was the 2023 MVP, but as a scorer, and as he's stepping back in here and he's trying to reinvent himself, I think defense is all effort and character. So when you're trying to make that reestablishment, I think that's a big thing to do on the defensive end.
Tamika, I like how you didn't take Donovan's bait. He's a football guy. They're a little. Football guys are little.
Calm, cool.
Yeah. Don't take his bait. Don't take his bait.
Well, you talked about offensively and defensively, they showed character and effort. The story also was the offensive rebounds and the fact that they were crashing the boards, Winnipeg, making the Edmonton team and Jordan Baker crash out on the sidelines because there were so many extra possessions. Is that something they can build on moving forward?
Of course. Historically, they're not a great defending team. They actually struggle a lot against physicality. So to be able to see that in the first game, when things haven't necessarily gelled yet, and you don't know exactly what you're doing on offense or defense, again, defense and rebounding, that is all effort. So if you're the Winnipeg team, you're very excited that that's what you brought to the table today.
Well, what I've seen from Winnipeg as well, you talk about the offensive rebounding, is they played in transition, especially later in the game. They played in transition where they had numbers. So when those shots went up, right, Edmonton was trying to get back. They were scrambling a bit, so they didn't have matchups and guys were open. They were able to crash the boards and then get some of those loose ones around the basket, which they converted. So I think that's something where Coach Baker, and they play well in the half court defensively. They're tough, they're gritty, they stay in front of you. Really good half court defensive team, but you got to have that sense of urgency in transition as well defensively. So, big time job by Winnipeg, just getting out in that second half and pushing the basketball, not playing against the half court, but also staying with it and playing, on the second side and, the second efforts, getting on the offensive glass and coming up with some good stuff.
All's not lost for Edmonton. Real good showing early. They got some dogs. And they got a great Dane. Danger was really good tonight.
That's a bad man. That's a bad man. He's 6'9". We're talking about 220, 230, pushing the basketball. He does a really good job of seeing the floor as well, but also this attack, right? Not afraid of big man, putting his right shoulder, finishing with that left hand. But I was really impressed with him. Here was one of the ones in transition where he's got a little dancing feet, little twinkle toes, finishing left, right. There's a bit of everything. But when you have a player like that, you can play through him because he can catch a rebound, he can go the length of the floor, but also in the half court, you give him the basketball, and he's good enough to score, but he's good enough to draw defenses and then pass it out and make some things happen.
Great start to the year. I think a good foundation for both teams to build on. We'll see much more of them throughout the year. This has been a fun one. Scary hours, though, for the rest of the league. Winnipeg, 4 guys going to report to this team. They're only going to get better.
Yeah.
We've got more CBC sports action for you. Stay with us. This is the CEBL on CBC.
Not in a time loop. Every day just feels the same.
And now, it's time to party. Pew pew.
22 minutes on CBC and CBC Gem.
Are you going to be able to keep it together on this one?
I am nothing if not profesh. Don't make me use this. Hi.
This is Jessica.
Nice to meet you.
We should all go out sometime.
I would love that.
Wild Cards on CBC Gem.
이곳을 언젠가 내 집이라고 부를 수 있을까요?
이제 진짜 서울살이 시작한다.
한 손에 내 목숨을 쥐고 여기까지 왔습니다. 어머니한테 소식 전하고 싶습니다.
엄마를 놔둔 건 니지 했니? 돈 되면 그때를 나게라.
가장 막막했던 순간들에 엄마가 해주셨던 말을 떠올리면서 버텼어요.
Hannah Korea on CBC Gem.
Looking for stories about Indigenous peoples from across the country?
We know where you can find them.
Zinez Hotier, my name is Edzi Ulevrin, and I'm Tahltan Nation and Taku River Tlingit First Nation.
CBC Indigenous.
My name is Brett Forster, and I'm from the Chippewas of Kettle and Stony Point First Nation.
Creative.
Engaging.
Informative.
Grounded in First Nation.
Métis.
And Inuit communities.
I don't care what others say.
I'm the queen of the sea.
My girls.
You know what I mean.
My babies. Oh, can you believe it?
Make some noise, make some noise!
Who's ready for a good show tonight?
I'd say it's nice to be back here. It is fine.
Just for Laughs Galas. Stream now, CBC Gem. Turning bold ideas into big dreams.
이곳을 언젠가 내 집이라고 부를 수 있을까요?
이제 진짜 서울살이 시작한다.
한 손에 내 목숨을 쥐고 여기까지 왔습니다. 어머니한테 소식 전하고 싶습니다.
엄마를 놔둔 건 니지 했니? 돈 되면 그때를 나게라.
가장 막막했던 순간들에 엄마가 해주셨던 말을 떠올리면서 버텼어요.
Hannah Korea on CBC Gem.
This is a world record distance. Sensational. Unbelievable. Yes, it is. She smashed it. He's done it.
Every single Diamond League is stacked. You have to bring your best version of yourself.
In order to go compete with best athletes in the world, you got to treat yourself like you're one of them.
Who's going to get it on the line? Lyles! Very impressive. What a run from Nasser.
At times, this game felt like a track meet. Well, we got more for you. The world's premier circuit of athletics is back on the track. We've got you. Join us a week from today for the Shanghai stop of the Diamond League, one of the best stops on the circuit. It goes 4 p.m. Eastern right here on CBC. Speaking of CBC, we are the home for the CEBL all season long. You can stream every minute of all of the action on Gem or on our website. Next up, Ottawa Blackjacks host the defending Western Conference champs, the Calgary Surge. Tip is at 7:30 on Tuesday. We've got footy for you as well. There's more to come from the Northern Super League. Kaylee Hunter and Elise Bennett, no relation to me, tune in as AFC Toronto hosts the Montreal Roses FC from York Lions Stadium. Kickoff goes at 1 p.m. Eastern. That's also streaming on Gem. The basketball action was so good. We'll stay tuned right here. We got more great sports for you. Hockey Night in Canada is coming up next. Can the Canes stay undefeated in the playoffs as they try and sweep the Flyers? Ron and the crew have got you. Thanks for watching.
Program has ended.